Hello, good morning, and welcome to all of our classrooms out there tuning in. Happy Red Ribbon Week from the Oxnard Police Department. My name is Paul Carganilla. I'm the Community Affairs Manager for the Police Department here. And I want to thank you all for tuning in to our virtual class and presentation here. Looks like a lot of you are checking in the chat here. We're in Mrs. Randall's third grade class at Curran, Mrs. Sanchez 3, 4, and 5 at Lemonwood, Mrs. Lepaluoto's third grade class at Emily Richin, Miss Yeto at Elm, Miss Loomis at McAuliffe. Wow, so many tuning in. Thank you for being here with us as we kick off Red Ribbon Week with a little chat and presentation with some of our Oxnard police officers about the week and what it's all about here. And I'd like to encourage you to keep using that chat to ask any questions you may have. Of course, this past year and a half, we've learned to live life a lot differently and meet with people in different ways. But right here, we'd love to be as interactive as we possibly can with you. So if you have any questions at all for our officers, we will get to them at the end of the session here. The last 10 minutes or so, we'll answer any questions that drop into the chat. Also, if you have any need to contact me, you want to set any sort of meetings or anything up with me, go ahead, and I put my email address at the bottom of the Zoom. I'm not sure if you can read it, but it is my name there, paul.carganilla@oxnardpd.org. If you'd like to contact me for any reason, any social outreach or meetings that you have going on, I'd love to help you out. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce our officers that will be joining us this morning. Please give a nice warm welcome to Senior Officer Crystal Walker and Officer Kevin Thompson.
Morning.
Can everybody hear us? Good? Yes? All right, excellent. So I'm Detective Crystal Walker, or Senior Officer. I'm a detective by job. I'm a Senior Officer by rank. What I do for the Oxnard Police Department is I'm a detective. I go around and I detect, okay? I take the cases that are filed with us, and I do my research, and if we have to go get video to identify a suspect, we go do that. If we have to submit fingerprints and DNA, we do that. And we put together the cases so that we can move them forward so that they go to court. And sometimes I wear this. Sometimes I can wear jeans. And sometimes I wear a different uniform that has a black vest that says police on it. But either way, I'm still a police officer. I just have a different kind of a job.
Okay, good morning. I'm Officer Kevin Thompson, Oxnard Police Department. I'm currently assigned to school resource officers and youth services. My job basically is to deal with the junior highs and elementary schools as a resource and a partner with the police department and the school districts. I go out to different school sites and I assist the school administrators with different situations that happen on their campuses. I also make sure that we interact with our students and we try to bridge any gaps and break down any walls or barriers with the students and law enforcement.
Okay, yeah. So basically, Red Ribbon Week, we all know what it is, say no to drugs, but I think the theme this time is drug-free looks like me, which, yes, absolutely it does. I haven't tried anything. I've never done anything like that in my life, thank goodness. I try to live a very clean life, and right now I do a lot of exercising and stuff to make sure that I'm able to fit in my uniform, but other than that, that's because you got to keep your body going well, and you got to burn those extra calories that maybe you might have, like that little piece of chocolate that you have from time to time. So we're going to talk a little bit about not so much that drugs are bad, because you already know that, but we're going to talk about other things that you can do that are good for you, okay? So out of these two, what do you think? Which one is the one that you should be having? Probably not this one. This has a lot more calories than this does, and this. Fruits and vegetables are good for you, and they're good for your body, and you want to maintain that. I only drink one of these a week because there's so many calories, and a lot of times, you know, we drink these not thinking about how many calories we consume each day. And again, this is not as good for you as water would be. Try to consume that water, milk, other drinks that you have. Let's try it again. Which one do you think is better for you having your lunch? Fast food or the applesauce? The applesauce, right? Because this is what you should have. These are good, like I said, the fruits, the vegetables. This is good every once in a while, but this is not good for you all the time, especially as you get older. It's a little bit harder to burn off those calories, and also they have a lot of grease, a lot of salt, a lot of sugar, and it's hard for your body to get rid of that. What's another thing that we can do that is good for our bodies, which is staying active? I play hockey sometimes. Okay, so what is it? What are other sports that you guys can do? What is it that you can do at school to keep active? Now, Officer Thompson, he likes basketball. That's his thing. He coaches basketball.
I love basketball.
So, what other sports are there?
Well, you guys can play softball, soccer, do gymnastics, volleyball. You guys can go out and play flag football. You can run track, play tennis, do golf. All kinds of things you guys can do. Some of you guys might have good rhythm and you like to dance. Dancing is a good exercise. We're talking about drug awareness and Red Ribbon Week, but it's also about having a healthy lifestyle. Okay, eating right. Okay, eating your fruits and your vegetables, eating your breads, drinking your milk, having cereal, eating meat, your peanut butter and jelly and stuff like that. Those are real healthy things options you guys can put in your body. Okay, one other thing that's very, very important that you guys stay active. Okay, we know right now there's a lot of iPads out there, there's computers out there, you guys have cell phones, you have all kinds of electronic devices, and they can take a lot of your time. They're very addicting, okay? But we want you guys to take time to put that stuff away, put it down, go outside, run around, play, have a good time, use your imaginations, be kids, and stay active. It's very important you guys do that, okay? Don't get caught up on your social media stuff. Make sure you guys are getting out and you're playing and you're having a good time, okay? Because your bodies are very important. Okay, we talked about food and what you guys put in your body and how important that is. Okay, it's similar to a vehicle. Most of us have parents or know someone that has a vehicle. Okay, your parents, every time they have to go somewhere, they always have to do what? Go to a gas station. They have to put gas inside of that vehicle to give it fuel. With that fuel, now the car is able to go long distances. It's able to move from one place to another. Without that fuel, your mom's and dad's cars will break down and won't run. Your bodies are just like a vehicle. You guys have to make sure you guys are putting the proper fuel in your body so when you guys are going through your day, your body is not crashing and slowing down and becoming real sluggish and tired. Okay? And over time, as you guys continue to grow up, if you guys are putting good things in your bodies are gonna provide a healthier lifestyle and a healthier body for you when you guys become adults all the way up into becoming grandmothers and grandfathers. Okay, but if you put bad things in your body now, if you put drugs in your body, bad alcohol in your body's going to break down, and your body won't last the time that it should.
And another thing, if you are leading an active and healthy lifestyle, you're going to need to want to drink a lot of water. Okay, so replacing all that because you're going to sweat it out when you're outside playing. And if you don't replace that water, you could get either heat exhaustion or you can get heat stroke when you're out there and it's very hot. And it starts out that you start getting a headache and you start to feel like you want to throw up. And I'm sure that's happened to you at one time or another. That's when you need to stop playing and you need to hydrate. Drink water. Flush all that bad stuff out of there. Keep it going. You should have to go to the bathroom more often, but the water is what keeps you going, keeps you hydrated. And then another thing to keep you healthy and safe is also, you see, Officer Thompson and I are wearing our masks. We're within 6 feet of each other. So we have to make sure to wear those masks so that we don't get sick. You don't want to get sick, miss out a whole bunch of days at school, because remember, what's up here is what you need when you move along in life, go to college and get that good job, get that money so you can buy whatever you want. And you keep missing days at school, it's not going to happen for you. All right? Or do we have any questions at all from anybody right now?
We do have some questions in the chat that are building up, but I just wanted to ask you, from a police officer standpoint, if there are students out there who want to get a good job eventually after school, get a good career, what would the importance of keeping a clean body and keeping yourself drug-free be when just looking down the road into the future, maybe a career in law enforcement like you guys have?
Well, one thing that stands out, inside of your head, you guys have what we call your brain. Okay, if you use drugs, that's going to mess with your brain. It's going to mess with your mind. It's going to mess with your ability to learn and retain. Okay, make sure that while you guys are in school, make sure you guys are really listening to your teachers and you're taking school serious. Make sure you guys are doing your homework. Make sure you guys are asking lots of questions. Make sure you guys are keeping your body healthy and stay away from anything that's negative for you. Okay. Also, make sure that you guys are not getting on social media and posting things that are inappropriate and things that are not good. Because if you do post things, once you put it out there and you send it, it's out there forever. And as you get older and get ready to go into college and get a job, there are employers and people are going to look back at some of your social media sites and see what type of activity you had in the internet. Okay? And if you have negative stuff out there, that stuff is going to come back to haunt you later on. So you want to make sure you're keeping your life clean, you're staying out of trouble, you guys are being good kids, and you're being a good person, and you're having high character.
And remember, anything you post, whether or not you delete it, they can still find it. So if you have to think twice, just don't do it.
Very sound advice. Yep. Thank you, everyone who has submitted questions in the live chat. If your classroom has any and you haven't yet, please feel free to ask questions right here in the YouTube chat. We got the same question from, it looks like Ms. Alvarez, third grade at Soria, and Ms. Einstein. Andrew in Ms. Einstein's class wants to know why. Why do people use drugs?
Well, we've talked to a lot of different people in the course of our career that use drugs. Some of them use it as a crutch. They're saying, hey, their life is too bad. They're having stress. There are problems that are going on. So they look to drugs to try to help solve that issue. Okay. We say that is not the answer. Okay. Talking to someone, getting counseling, surrounding yourself with a support group, people that can help you through your situation, but reaching out to drugs, that's not going to, it's not going to, clean up the situation. It's actually going to make it 10 times worse. Okay. And drugs are something that's an addictive thing that can take away your families. It can take away your jobs. It can cause you to lose all kinds of things. Okay. So people use drugs because they feel that is just a coping mechanism for them that will help them temporarily take them away from what reality is. But eventually, when that high goes away and those drugs come out, that situation, their problem is still going to be there. So they become addicted.
And I don't know, there's no easy answer to this one, but it's been asked a couple of times as well. Looks like Miss Flores' class and also Miss Cervantes Caro's class. Who creates the drugs?
Well, it could be anybody, but also drugs. It's a broad title that we have because sometimes it could be narcotics that are prescribed by a doctor. Okay. They give it to you and they tell you you're supposed to take this much at this time and you're not supposed to take more than that. But sometimes people have used that and they have taken all of it because they know how it makes them feel. And again, it's just a crutch and you become addicted. So then they tell their doctor they need more and more. But then there's also, and those are by pharmaceutical companies for a legitimate medical purpose. There are other drugs that are made like, how about this? Would you eat a match? Probably not. Well, the red phosphorus, that red stuff that's in the match, is one of the ingredients used in some of the drugs that are made. And people consume that. And what that does is that, putting that in your body, it's poison, obviously. And it comes out in other ways. But people do in their homes, in secluded places, they manufacture these illegally. It's all illegal. And we can't say exactly who it comes from, but there are people that do it besides pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, people use drugs to do a lot of bad things with it. It's like chemicals that your parents use for cleaning. Drano, things that are very, very bad that you would never put in your mouth and you would never consume. Okay, there are people out there on the streets that we call bad guys. Okay, those are the people that are out there making these illegal drugs because they know that when your body takes it, everybody's body is different, and so the chemical reaction from the chemicals that you put in your body and the chemicals you have in your body is going to cause some type of effect, and they're not always healthy. A lot of kids have underlying conditions. You might have a heart condition. You may have something that's sleeping dormant in your body, and if you take those drugs just one time, that one time that you try those drugs, that could be the time that causes you to lose your mind. That could be the time that's going to cause you to go out there and be a homeless person. That could be the time that you can actually die and become a medical emergency. So we have to make sure that we're not putting bad stuff in our bodies because the bad guys are not using it. They're just producing it and they're selling it to other people that want it to make a profit. And we want to make sure that's not happening.
And that kind of touches on, we had the same question from, it looks like Miss Baraza's class and Miss Paulo's class. What kind of ingredients are in drugs? And it sounds like chemicals and bad things you would never want to put in your body.
Absolutely.
This series of questions is kind of all related, so I'll ask them all at once. Miss Caro's class asks, do you ever have to run after people because of drugs? Miss De Garola's class asks, do robbers get in trouble for smoking? And Miss Caro's class also asks, if you get caught with drugs, will it go on your record?
Okay, lots of questions. Let's start with the first one. What was it? Do we run after? Yeah. Sometimes we do. It kind of depends. If we know somebody is wanted, if we know that they're selling drugs, whether it's to kids or whether adults, it doesn't matter. Yes, sometimes we run after them if they run. Hopefully they don't, because that's how injuries happen. But if we have to, we do, because it's in most cases a felony. And the second question was, I'm sorry.
Would robbers get in trouble for smoking?
Yes. Robbers get in trouble for smoking, okay? Using drugs, okay? You get in trouble for being a robber, okay? You can't, robbers are not good people. So those are just two things we don't want to put together. But if they happen to be a robber and they're doing drugs, then yes, they're definitely going to get in trouble. Also, will it go on your record? Yes, okay? Drugs is a no-no, all right? There are legal drugs and you have to go through your doctor to get those. Then there are street drugs. If you happen to have drugs and you're arrested, that would be something that will be on your record forever. Okay? It's just like posting something on the internet and you send it, it's out there forever. When you get arrested for a drug violation and you go to court and you're convicted of it, it's on your record forever. And even if you're not convicted, guess what? It's still in the system that you were arrested for. Okay? So you can't get away from that.
And a lot of job applications will ask you, have you ever been arrested? And you have to say yes.
Very good. Now, this is kind of a funny question for adults, but it kind of goes along the same theme that we're talking about of putting good things in your body. But a student in Miss Randall's class wants to know, do you eat donuts?
You know what? I can tell you this. I like me some Krispy Kremes, but I don't go to a donut shop and buy donuts. I haven't done that in almost 28 years. I would not go and buy a donut just because of that little image. But man, when I'm off duty, I'll give me a dozen.
Every once in a while, I'll have a donut, but not too often.
Appreciate the honesty for sure. Ms. Jimenez's class from Elm just says hello. Hello, officers. Good to see you.
Hello.
Ms. Flores, class wants to know, why are we doing Red Ribbon Week?
Well, the main reason is because I want to say it was in the 80s, or as my kids call it, the old 80s. Back in the 80s, there was an officer who got killed, and it was by a drunk person. And so what they do is they I wouldn't say celebrate, but they have an awareness campaign saying no to drugs. It started with the red ribbons and the red shirts, and most schools I think today are actually wearing the red shirts, and it's just a way of recognizing that, hey, no drugs are bad, and to talk about the bad things that can happen, but also, like we were talking about today, the good things that you should be doing instead of drugs.
Very good. We have so many great questions here. We'll try to get to all of them. Mrs. Paolo, second grade at Santa Clara, would just like to say thank you, officers, for keeping us safe. And Ms. Randall's class wants to know if either of you have a canine.
No, sadly, no.
No canine for me. But we do have canines on our police department, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the segment.
Yeah, and Ms. Hickman's class wants to know, what is it like to be a police officer?
Awesome.
It's the best job ever.
Yeah.
You help a lot of people, you do a lot of great things, and that's why we became police officers, because we wanted to help our community. We wanted to help, the people to be safe and have a safe life.
Now, Ms. Barraza's class wants to know, can a police officer get arrested for doing drugs?
If a police officer is doing drugs and he's breaking the law, that police officer can be arrested too. I can tell you this: nobody hates a bad cop more than a good cop.
Exactly.
And we take that very serious.
Another student in Ms. Barraza's class wants to know, this is a great question, are drugs for depression bad drugs?
If they're used properly, okay, like we said, some doctors will prescribe medication to you. And if you use the medication the way it's prescribed, then it's okay. But when people abuse it or take too much of it, then it becomes an issue. And that's what you have to monitor yourself. That's why we say keep all drugs away from kids. Only adults should be administering drugs to kids at home, because parents should have the wherewithal to make good decisions.
Miss Yeto's class is another great question. What should we do if we find drugs?
Well, you call the police department. Don't touch them, because some of them can be absorbed through the skin, and you don't want that, or you can inhale some of the fumes. So don't touch them. Kind of, if it's in a separate room, close that room off. Call the police department. Let them come and take care of it. Obviously, tell them everything you know about it, so that we can approach safely as well. But definitely don't touch it or do anything with it yourself.
Very good. Ms. Barraza's class wants to know if we can someday do a police station tour via Zoom. Yeah, I think we can set that up. Let's set that up. Go ahead and contact me. My email is right at the bottom. I'd love to do that. That'd be great. Next up, it looks like, well, they're asking if there are different ways, if you eat drugs or smoke drugs. They're just basically asking if there's different ways to consume drugs.
Yeah.
Yes, there's multiple ways, and trust me, the people that are on drugs, they try to find every way possible. Okay, and it's unfortunate, but it's the drugs that making them make the bad decisions, because they're still chasing that high.
Ms. Sanchez's class asks, is graffiti a crime?
Yes. If you're spray painting or basically vandalizing somebody else's property without their permission, absolutely. And depending on the size is whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony. So you go and you etch your name into somebody's window, and it's this big, it's probably going to be a misdemeanor, but that doesn't mean you're not going to get arrested, because it's an arrestable offense. But if you do a big kind of mural, that's probably going to be a felony. And yes, that's what my unit looks into. And what vandalism, graffiti is a separate unit, but you'll probably have to end up talking to me about it.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you guys are all students at your schools. So you guys need to make sure you have pride in your school. Make sure you have pride in your restrooms and everything around your school. Make sure that you're not allowing another student, if you see a student writing on the walls, doing something up in the restrooms, or doing something that's inappropriate, vandalizing your school, make sure you tell a teacher. Okay, make sure you guys are being the good eyes to keep your campuses clean of any type of graffiti or anything like that. Okay, it's your school, have pride in it, and make sure that everybody else is taking care of your school.
Great. And we've gotten so many great questions. Thank you all so much. We're just about out of time. We got about 5 minutes left. So if we don't get to your questions here, we'll add the answers in the comments on the chat. This is the last one we'll take before we kind of start to wrap it up here. But Mrs. Hickman's class wants to know, can young kids get arrested for doing drugs?
Yes, young kids can be arrested for doing drugs, but the courts look at the different ages, and they also look at how much information the kids are able to maintain to know the difference between right and wrong. Your age has a lot to do with it, but if a kid is really, young kids are doing drugs, that's a really bad deal. So we'll have to look a little bit deeper into that to find out why they're doing drugs, where they got the drugs from, who's provided to them, who the adults or the people that are responsible for that student is. But yes, kids can be arrested for doing that, but that's not something that we are trying to do. We're trying to get deeper in the root of the problem.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll take this one question as kind of a segue to a little slideshow that we've got. But Ms. Flores's class asks for the officers, while you are working, what do you do during your workday?
For me, in my current assignment, I am at my desk. Like I said, I review cases a lot. I try to see, if they're solvable. Is there suspect information? If there is suspect information, can I go find that person and arrest them? Submitting all of our fingerprints, our DNA, things that are collected at the scene to try to solve that crime. Sometimes we go out and we look for stolen vehicles, because that stolen vehicles is what we do in my unit in property crimes. And when we find them, we try our best to contact the bad guy so that there's no pursuit. Because you've seen them on TV where there's a pursuit all the way to LA and all that kind of stuff. We don't want that, because that's how injuries happen. So hopefully we find them before they take off in the car, and then we take them to jail. Sometimes it's exciting. Sometimes I sit at my desk a lot and it's not so much. But either way, it's solving crime.
And for patrol officers, basically, we respond to calls for service. We patrol our areas to make sure that there's no one hurting anyone, buildings are not being broken into, residents are not being broken into. We want to keep our community safe in the area where we work. As school resource officer, I respond to different school sites. I assist admin with different types of situations they may have on their campuses. We go into classrooms, do presentations. I provide resources to families and children that are in need. But our day can go, a lot of different directions depending on what's going on in our city.
Ms. Cordes, the principal at Lemonwood, just dropped in the chat. She says, thank you so much for this opportunity to engage with our students to discuss some really important topics. Thank you for tuning in. And just on our way out here, we'll go through some pictures that kind of show what police officers do, not only throughout their day, but on days off, on time off, to connect with the community. And I'll let the officers explain what you're seeing in each picture here.
Oh, I think that's from one of our community events. It looks like one of our sergeants and our senior officers are out there. They're either they're trying to figure out where something's going, or they're trying to direct some people.
I picked a bad picture to show, but that's actually they're helping at a scene of a traffic collision, actually.
Yeah. Oh, then I got that one wrong.
It's my fault.
This is right here is one of our giveaways where we're doing community service out, and we're doing an outreach. We're working with school districts and feeding the public. Like that might be one of our Thanksgiving feeds at one of our school sites. We get involved in things like that.
Our animal control, I believe this gentleman had helped find the babies from them. I think it was a cat that was stuck in a drain, and he helped the animal control get them out of the drain. That was pretty cool, I thought.
This is one of our canine officers, Officer Casson, and the dog Capone. And this is just one. We have 3 dogs, and our canines are used as a tool, and as officers are dealing with things out in the street. So our canines help us with building searches. They search for drugs and narcotics, article searches, and they also help us with our traffic stops if we have a high-risk stop type situation.
Community cleanup. We do that from time to time. Go out there with the community, the neighborhood members, and help them beautify their area, because you know how trash collects sometimes. And before Measure E happened and we started getting a whole bunch of improvements, we wanted to be out in the community helping out.
This is one of the youth soccer camps that was put on this past summer by Commander Lewis MacArthur. You can see they have officers in the navy blue shirts that are actually help volunteering as coaches in this youth camp that took place at Pacifica High School. We had a lot of kids. We did 2 sessions. We did a morning session with kids from 3 to 6, and then we did an afternoon session with kids 7 through 13. It was a good event that we did our community outreach for students and kids in the community.
One of our crossing guards. We have a lot of crossing guards that are out there. It's during school hours. They help you cross the street safely, because some of these intersections there are way too many cars and way too many kids. So you have to follow what the crossing guard says, please, so that you can stay safe. But they do an amazing job, and I'm pretty sure they do it every day, rain or shine.
This is two members of our bike team. We do have a bike team with the police department, and they're used at different type of events like the Strawberry Festival, the Salsa Festival, any other type of small events in our community. They're also used to go out and patrol, and they patrol different alleyways and target different areas where there may be different types of crimes that are going on where police officers' vehicles are easily seen. Our bike team officers are able to move up in more of a stealth mode to help catch the bad guys.
And more presentations. I believe this one's by our traffic unit. They go to schools and they talk to kids about crossing the street properly, and whether or not they're using their bikes, that they need to wear their helmets and to be careful of other traffic. It's good crime prevention, good traffic enforcement type stuff, but great for the kids because a lot of times they're riding their bikes or they're walking home from school by themselves. So they need a little bit of guidance as to how to do this safely.
This is our mounted unit at one of our football games. I believe this is at a Friday night football game at Pacifica High School. For those of you that like horses and like to ride horses, if you become a police officer in the future, we also have the mounted unit that you guys can go out and help patrol different type of events as a mounted police officer. But it's a collateral assignment. These officers that are on these horses actually do other assignments within our department also.
Well, thank you so much for that slideshow. And thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. I know we're a couple of minutes over here. So any last words to wrap it up from our officers?
Just thank you so much for listening, and we appreciate you guys. And anytime you see us, make sure to say hi. We're here.
Yep. I say same thing. Make sure you guys are eating healthy, putting the right things in your body, stay away from drugs. And we want you guys to get outside and exercise. Put down your electronic devices, go out, have fun, run around, be a kid, and don't try to grow up too fast. All right? You guys, thank you for your time.
I know we're in kind of a hurry to get out of here, but this last question that just snuck in, I think is very, very deserving of an answer here. Ms. Lepaludo wants to know, may students come up and say hi if they see you in the neighborhood?
Absolutely.
Of course. We didn't get to tell you guys that, but hey, police officers, we're your friends. Okay? If you see a police officer, please come up and say hi to us. We enjoy it. Some of the officers will give you a hug too. Others may not, but they do love to have you guys come up and say what's up. Okay? And we're working on having more stickers out there for you guys when you approach officers. Okay? That is a hot thing out there, and we're trying to get more officers to have stickers on them so they can pass those out to our kiddos.
Yes. Well, thank you again, once again, everybody, for joining us on this Red Ribbon Week kickoff event. Thank you to Officer Thompson and Senior Officer Walker. And thank you to students, principals, everyone, once again, for tuning in, and have a great, safe rest of your day.
Right.